I'm not this, I'm not that. I'm simply the insignificant servant of Krishna. And my only hope in life is to please Guru, Krishna, Vaishnavas. And if they're pleased, then other people will be pleased too, because my actions will be without self-interest. I will freely distribute the mercy of Krishna. So, when one is fixed in devotional service, he or she is above the material platform. On the material platform, there are higher and lower positions. But when one is above the material platform, he is always fixed in a spiritual position. Sagunam samatityatam, Brahmabhuyaya kalpate. He is no longer influenced by the modes of material nature. Ravana or those like him may be very powerful and opulent in this material world, but theirs is not a secure position. Because, after all, they are bound by the results of their karma. Karmana daiva netrena. We should not forget that we are completely dependent on the laws of nature. Prakrite kriyamanani gunaikamani sarvastasam manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by nature. One should not be proud of one's exalted position and act like Ravana, thinking oneself independent of material nature's laws. So this is the number one symptom of a materialist. They think that they're above the laws of material nature. In fact, they don't believe there's any laws of material nature. What law are you talking about? Laws are made by human society. There's no God. There's nothing. There's just a blind nature. What kind of law is there in nature? The only law is survival of the fittest. The biggest fish eats the little fish. The big guy dominates the little guy. That's the only law. The law of the jungle. Therefore, I'm more powerful. I got more money. I have more. Just like one time, Stalin was told, "Oh, the Pope is very upset." He said, "The Pope? So how many tanks does the Pope have?" You see, this is the way the demons think. Pope doesn't have any tanks. So what do I care if Pope's upset? Well, Pope is still around, but Stalin is not around anymore. Yeah. So, in the Ramayan is a very interesting thing. So when Rama was banished from Ayodhya, so many people, even his own father, tried to convince him not to leave. He said, "Put me in jail. You can do it. I'll go gladly to jail and you become the king." I respect your. So my word, I'm telling you right now, put me in jail. That's also my word. And you would be a liar. I don't want your reputation to be tarnished like that. So he went into the forest, and at one point, he meets this person named Sutikshna. Who's a sage living in the forest. And he blesses them. He says, "Go now safely with Lakshman, and Sita will follow you like a shadow. Behold the beautiful hermitages of the ascetics residing in the Dandaka forest. You will find the woods in bloom and visited by deer and lovely feathered tribes echoing with the wild notes of peacocks. Lakes and pools strewn with lotuses and water lilies and visited by swans and ducks, and you will come across their beautiful fountains." Rama then went round the sage and took his leave. Large-eyed Janaki then handed over swords and bows to their hands. When Rama was about to set out with Lakshmana, Sita affectionately said, "My lord, virtue can only be acquired by renouncing all low desires. There are three kinds of sins: falsehood, adultery, and anger. without any provocation, or anger without any provocation. The last two are more grave than the first one. You have never told any lies, nor will you do in the future. You have no lustful hankering for another's wife, nor will you have that. Rather, you are devoted to your own wife. Virtue and truth are present in you. You are truthful, learned, and have control over your senses. You are firm in your vows and obedient to your father. But you are now engaged in that simple act which one commits through ignorance by killing a creature without any offense. You have agreed to protect the ascetics living in the forest. You are therefore proceeding with Lakshman with bows and arrows to the Dandaka forest. But I have become greatly anxious on account of your departure. I am thinking of your actions and of the means that may contribute to your happiness. But at every step, I feel greatly anxious on your account. I don't wish that you should go to the Dandaka forest. If you go there, you will surely be involved in a conflict with the Rakshasas, for the presence of arms highly inflames Kshatriya valor. Well, this is an ultimate argument for gun laws, banning guns, banning weapons. And this type of controversy has been going on in America since the founding of the country. But it has the Second Amendment that guarantees that people can bear arms, so everyone can get a gun in America. But Sita's point is, if you have the weapon, you're going to use it. So, but how can a Kshatriya fight and protect the innocent people if they don't have weapons, right? And the other side has weapons. So then Sita tells a story. She says, "My lord, formerly a pious ascetic was engaged in religious meditation in the calm recesses of the forest. Indra, in order to disturb his religious meditation, once appeared in the guise of a warrior and kept his sword as a trust with the ascetic." In other words, he gave his weapon to the yogi. The ascetic, then in fear of the violation of the trust, used to roam about the forest with the sword in hand. Even when he went to gather fruits and roots. From this constant carrying of the sword, the ascetic, by degrees, grew cruel. And at last he gave up all religious meditations and became engaged in the slaughter of all creatures. This story I've related to you just to illustrate that as fire produces change in the fuel, so contact of arms brings about a change in the human mind. My husband, of course, I do not pretend to give you any advice, but I humbly remind you of this out of love and deep regard for you. It is not proper to kill any creature unless it does some grave injury. A Kshatriya hero should do only that much which might be necessary for the protection of the ascetics living in the forest, and nothing more. Where there are arms, where are arms? Where is the forest? Where is religious meditation and where is Kshatriya valor? These are quite antagonistic to each other. Please hold in respect what is proper to an ascetic. Resume the duties of a Kshatriya after your return to Ayodhya. You have been obliged to abdicate the throne and repair to the forest, and my father-in-law and mother-in-law will be greatly pleased if you lead the life of a hermit. From righteousness comes wealth, and from wealth happiness. In short, everything comes from religion, or dharma. Intelligent people acquire righteousness even by torturing their bodies, but religion cannot come from pleasure or happiness. My lord, you know everything and nothing is unknown to you. Who can aspire to advise you in matters of religion? I have said all these simply from the fickleness of a woman. Consult with Lakshmana and decide to your course of action. So hearing Janki's speech, Rama said, "O noble lady, you have justly expounded the duties of a Kshatriya out of love for me. What shall I say in reply? You have yourself said that a Kshatriya should bear arms so that there may not exist any word as the distressed. Now the hermits of the Dandaka forest in distress have applied to me for help. They are harmless people and live on fruits and roots, but the cruel Rakshasas have caused great discomfort to them, and cannibal monsters are feeding on their flesh. I have promised them all help that lies in me, and asked them what I would do. They asked for my protection and said that they could have themselves destroyed the Rakshasas by their spiritual power, but that would take away much from their religious merit. So they did not wish to do that. And for this reason, they have so long refrained from cursing them. They further said that they were living in the forest depending on me. Without the slightest remorse, I can give up my life, nay, can even renounce you along with Lakshmana, but cannot swerve from my promise given to the Brahmins. How can I act otherwise, when I would have done that even without their asking? Janaki, I have heard with gladness what you have said out of your love and good wishes towards me. Nobody says anything to him who is not dear to him. You are worthy of your birth. You are dearer to me than life. So please approve of my desire. Having said this, Rama proceeded toward the romantic forest with Lakshmana carrying the bow in his hand. Rama went first. Sita was in the middle, and Lakshmana followed them with bow in hand. So, this was an impassioned argument by Sita for gun laws. Because basically, let's say one day I think, the United States is falling apart. I should get a gun. Right now, a lot of people are buying guns. More
sales have increased.
Huh?
The arms sales have
increased. Yes, they've increased. But when you get a gun, like I saw this myself when I was living in Beirut. I had one Arab friend. His name was Ramses. One day he came to see me. We would see each other almost every day. And he said, "Oh, look what I got." He pulled out a gun. He was only like 18 years old. He pulls out this gun, and he handed it to me. I didn't want to touch it, I said, "Look," and it had a nice silver. It was like a silver gun and a nice carved ivory handle. And I said, "Wow." I said, "Why'd you get that?" I said, "I'm going to kill someone." Who are you going to kill? So I know who I'm going to kill. The whole family. I said, "When are you going to do it?" So I'm waiting. So one day, this place is going to break down into chaos. And that day, I'm going to go kill them. Then I realized I'm getting out of this place. People are going crazy. And he did. Later on, Beirut blew up in the civil war. And so many people got killed. But this was an 18-year-old kid. Imagine the others in the city, how they were thinking and getting ready. So that's what happens when you have the gun. Now, if you don't have the gun, it's a little harder. I mean, you can still kill someone, but it's a lot harder. But you have the gun, it's real easy. You just walk up to someone and go like this, and they're dead. So it changes the mentality of a person when they have an instrument like that in their hand. So nobody should have such an instrument unless they're highly trained. Just like, people are trained in judo. Well, actually, if you're really trained, you can kill a person. You know exactly where to hit a person, and they can die almost immediately. Therefore, if a judo expert kills someone, they're usually charged with murder because their art of judo is like a weapon. Like it's a lethal weapon, like a gun, and they can quickly kill a person if they want to. So, Sita's saying, if you carry, you're supposed to live in the forest. You're banished to the forest. And people who live in the forest are hermits, and they're yogis. So you have to live like a yogi. If you take your arms with you, then you're going to use them, and you'll be acting like a kshatriya. Wait till this exile is finished. When you go back, then you can act like a kshatriya. So this was a very good argument that she made. But Rama, he said, "Look, I can't ignore what you say." But he said, the hermits, the sages, they're begging me to help them. And if I don't, then they're going to use up their punya to curse the demons. And then they'll kill the demons, but they'll use their punya to do it. And they're asking me, who am a kshatriya, even though I'm in exile, without none to protect them. So please, I'm begging you. He didn't say, "I don't care what you say, I'm going to do it anyway." He didn't say like that. He begged his wife, "Please understand." And he used his superior reasoning to convince her that she should let him do it. If you want to know how to behave like a civilized person, you have to, how to be dharmic, you have to read Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Ramayan. But actually, we're reading the Ramayan in the Bhagavatam, the 9th canto. Last night I was explaining, this Ramayan in the Bhagavatam is like Cliff's Notes. You know Cliff's Notes? If you ever went to college in the United States, Cliff is a very smart guy. He knows that people don't like to do their homework, but they like to pass tests. So he made it easy for everyone. You go to any college, university bookstore, and there's a whole section of Cliff's Notes. Cliff gets all the required reading, like Chaucer's Tales, and James Joyce, and Mark Twain, and this one and that one. And those books are big, thick books like this. It takes you, a long time to read them, and you have to write papers on it. And he reduces it down to like 20 pages of the essential stuff that you need to know to pass a test. So you don't have to read the big book. You just read Cliff's Notes, and you can write a paper, and so forth. So, of course, you have Valmiki Ramayana, which is like this, right? And you have Srimad Bhagavatam Ramayana, which is like Cliff's Notes, like this. All the essential stuff analyzed in depth. Without, you don't have all... Of course, it's nice to read the Valmiki Ramayana, like we just read. It's all very eloquent and long discussion. But Bhagavatam gets the essence of it in 2 short chapters. So it's very nice that this... And this is authorized Bhagavatam, just as authorized as Valmiki's authorized Ramayana. There's 3 authorized Ramayanas that I know of. And besides that, there's hundreds, maybe thousands of other Ramayanas. But there's Ramayana and the Padma Purana, there's a Ramayana and Srimad Bhagavatam, and there's Ramayana Valmiki. Valmiki is the original, most authoritative. But the Bhagavatam Ramayana is very concise, but very deep analysis of the purpose of Lord Rama's appearance. Okay, well, we'll stop right there. Are there any questions?